I'm Deepa and welcome to the next episode of OmMade Kitchen. Today we're going to be doing one of my favorite recipes, and no, it's not the mac and cheese, but I promise that's coming very, very soon. It is another cream sauce that you can use on pasta, you can use on rice, on vegetables. Personally, I think, okay, you should always have like one recipe that's like that quick, like, okay, I have company coming in 15 minutes. What can I put together that's gonna look really good? This is that recipe for me. So if I know I'm gonna have company, I usually have these ingredients in my fridge, ready to go. This recipe is a little creamy, a little cheesy, has a little bit of fresh lemon, and it's gonna have some Italian seasonings, so it's definitely more on the Italian side. I do it with a gluten-free pasta that's made of lentil and rice, but you can choose any kind of pasta of your choice. I do recommend getting the highest quality pasta that you can because it will make a difference. It'll really hold the sauce well. And fresh herbs are great and amazing, so feel free to add the ones that you like. This sauce is really versatile because it's really a base sauce that you can add other ingredients and change the flavoring. So say you wanted to make a pink sauce, you could add tomato to this and you could shift it that way. So let's get started, and I'm gonna give you some other cool tips on the way. So first, we're gonna take 1.5 cups of raw organic cashews and we're gonna soak them in water. A little hack is soaking them in hot water will allow them to soften up quickly, and you just want to cover the top and let them soak while you're doing the rest of the recipe before you blend them. The shortcut is these have been soaking for about 10-15 minutes and now they are soft. You'll see that they've soaked up the water and they are no longer hard. They're gonna be nice and smooth and blend really easily to make a nice creamy base. To make it efficient, you're gonna fill a pot with water and put it on high heat, add salt to get ready for the pasta water. And while we're making the sauce, the pasta water will get hot and then you'll be able to put the pasta in. So I'm gonna add all the water and soaked cashews into the blender. We're gonna add about 2 or 3 splashes of white wine vinegar. If I had to guess, I'd say maybe about 1 to 2 tablespoons. 1/2 tablespoon of organic garlic granules. You can also use fresh garlic if you have it. A teaspoon of onion powder. And again, remember, we might be adjusting the spices because you're gonna try the sauce as you blend it. Now, this is one of the secrets to a good, great creamy cheese sauce. Black salt. Black salt has minerals in it, and it usually has basically volcanic ash, which is what my understanding is. It just creates a little umami flavor in the sauce. We're gonna make this sauce with a little kick in it. So I'm just gonna do maybe 1/2 teaspoon of red pepper flake. A hefty tablespoon of Italian seasoning. Now each Italian seasoning is different, so you wanna use one that the first ingredient is oregano. Of course, with any seasonings, you always wanna try to get the best quality you can. Now, if you're replacing with fresh herbs, you are gonna have slightly different variations, but I say don't worry about measuring them, play around. Again, this is where your intuition and your senses come in. There have been times where I have put a little extra rosemary in a recipe and it actually turned out amazing, and I trust that my intuition is what guided me to do that. Now, here's secret number 2 for a really rich, deep flavor sauce. So earlier you saw me chopping an onion, and I put it in the oven for 350 degrees for about 30 minutes. And that's the result. Now, if you're trying to make a recipe quick, you obviously maybe won't have that 30 minutes. This ingredient can be left out and you can add a little extra onion powder, but if you have that 30 minutes to let this roast, this is gonna add a really great depth of flavor to the sauce. The other thing you can also do, if you know you're gonna be somebody who has company over, or you just know that this is something I do regularly, what I'll do is sometimes I'll roast onions and I'll just leave them in my fridge for a day and use them for different recipes. Now I know that may not be the best thing to do Ayurvedically, it's usually better to use onions fresh, but we do the best we can. Another great idea is pureeing these with garlic and a little lemon juice and making ice cubes and freezing them. So you still have that fresh onion flavor, and you can pop one of those onion ice cubes into your sauce, and boom, there you go. We're gonna add the already cooked, cool roasted onions into the mix, and we're almost done with ingredients. Then we're gonna add 2 cans of full-fat coconut milk. When you look for coconut milk, you want to look for something that has the minimal amount of additives. Usually just coconut meat and coconut water is ideal, but whatever's available to you is great. Now, if you can't do coconuts, feel free to substitute some other plant milk. I think the coconut milk gives it a really creamy, rich, buttery flavor. So that's my favorite for this recipe. And then I'm just gonna add, let's say, about a tablespoon of nutritional yeast. Actually, let's make it 2 tablespoons. Great way to incorporate B vitamins into the recipe, as well as get, again, a little bit more umami flavor. And then we're gonna blend, blend, blend. Okay, so you're gonna blend it. I highly recommend having a good blender. I like my Blendtec. I also like Vitamix. They're both really great blenders. You can use a Ninja, but a high-powered blender is really key for really creamy, smooth sauces, especially if you're trying to do them quickly. So whenever I make any sauce, I always hold the container and imagine that I'm just infusing it with a lot of love, a lot of good energy, that whoever eats the food and myself is just filled with nourishment and gratitude and love, because love is always the secret ingredient, guys. It's gonna be a pretty watery consistency, but we're just gonna check it for flavor. So I'm just gonna take a little spoon. You really get that garlic, and that onion adds a really nice umami flavor. It needs a little bit more salt, and the final ingredient is lemon zest and the juice of 1 lemon. Notice how this lemon doesn't look perfect because it's organic. Most organic lemons will not be perfect in shape. Actually, the ugly ones are just as amazing as the ones that are perfectly round. So I always tell people, please, please, please make sure that if you're gonna eat the zest of something, that it be something that is non-sprayed. And we do want to use the zest because it'll add a really nice fresh flavor to the creamy sauce. Sometimes cream sauces can feel a little heavy. Because this one is plant-based, it's not gonna feel heavy, and then lemon is gonna really ensure that. So first, we're gonna make sure that we maximize how much juice we're gonna get out of it, and we're gonna give the lemon a nice, beautiful roll. Enjoy the little bit of aromatherapy, if you will. We're gonna zest the lemon first, so we make sure that the zest is available. We're gonna make sure when you're getting the lemon peel that you're not getting the white part, the pith, because that is the bitter part. There's also a lot of nutrition in the peel, so we're getting that extra good stuff into our system. And we'll save that last little bit in here and use it for the topping. So we're gonna save that little bit for the end, but we're gonna take the lemon, we're gonna cut it in half, squeeze half the lemon juice in here. Now, depending on how juicy your lemon is, you may need half a lemon, you may need a full lemon, but don't add the full lemon until you blend and try the sauce, because otherwise your sauce might turn into a lemon sauce versus a cream sauce. We're gonna add a little bit of black pepper and just a little more of the black salt. Let's say maybe about a little more than a teaspoon. So while the pasta water is boiling, you are going to just put the sauce on medium to low heat and to get it to start thickening up. I don't usually use thickeners in my sauces, but when I don't use a lot of other ingredients, if I do need to thicken the sauce, my favorite go-to is arrowroot powder. Now, arrowroot powder is best added towards the end of the cooking process, and you want to just add a little bit of water in a separate cup, cool water, whisk it, and then add it to the mixture as it's about to come to a boil, and then you're going to take it off of heat, otherwise it will loosen its thickening ability. It's also a great starch to use for sweets, for desserts, or making homemade jam. As you can see, it's just about coming to a boil. It's already starting to thicken, and the arrow will just make it a little thicker. So I'm gonna add some frozen peas right to the hot sauce for a little pop of color and just a little bite. Now you can add mushrooms, you can add blistered tomatoes, sauteed veggies, whatever your preference is. But if you're adding frozen veggies, you want to make sure you add them now so that they can start to cook while the pasta is cooking. So now I have the salted pasta water, and then you just let it do its thing. Come on, water, boil faster. The pasta is now ready, and If you don't have one of these, you definitely need to get it in your kitchen. It's a great tool, especially if you eat pasta often or for just other things, for pulling anything out of water if you're gonna boil veggies. I don't see these a lot in the kitchen, but my mom uses this when she's frying bread. Yes, this is definitely a must-have. Now that the pasta is ready, we're gonna shut the water off and we're gonna use this handy dandy little scooper to just ladle the pasta right into the sauce. A little bit of the pasta water going into the sauce is great because it's actually starchy water, which is just gonna help the sauce stick to that pasta and give it a nice, delicious. If you're serving it later, it will thicken, so you wanna make sure that the pasta is well coated so that you don't end up with dry pasta. I'm just gonna very gently incorporate the pasta and the sauce together. And so you get that little pop of color with the peas. If you're a fan of mushrooms, you can saute some mushrooms and put them in here. And again, this is just a basic cream sauce. You can adjust it, you can add more garlic, you can add more lemon. A really great addition is if you have access to black garlic. It'll add a really nice, almost sweet and savory flavor. And if you don't have black salt, don't worry about it. It's just one of those fun things to be able to utilize, and in vegan cheese sauces, I find it's a great little addition to a depth of flavor. Any salt will do. My preference generally is I love using pink salt. It has minerals. It's a little actually less salty tasting than regular table salt, so always adjust your recipes accordingly. And same with every salt is gonna have different sodium levels and taste a little different based on its mineral content. Of course, we have to try our little masterpiece. And like I said, this sauce will thicken as the pasta sits in it. Get just a touch of fresh lemon, a little extra black pepper. Yeah, that is definitely something that will impress pretty much anyone that comes over for dinner. And if you just want to impress yourself with what a great chef you are, definitely try this easy recipe at home. Like I said, make it your own, add extra veggies to it, whatever you fancy. And don't forget the secret ingredient is always love.